Well, we got a pretty good kick in the gut this week, Jets fans. But what is it that we learned from our most recent setback? Well, what's happening, Jets fans? This is GreenBean. Welcome back to another video. Man, oh man, is this a pretty tough week. And for guys like myself who try really hard to stay on the positive side of things, even over here, it feels like a gut punch. It feels like a swift kick in the pants, as my grandfather used to say. And it's hard not to be a little bit disheartened. It's hard not to be grim and feel like somewhat like the sky is falling, right? It's hard not to do that. We lost Mekhi Becton, as many of you already know, our starting right tackle this year. And look, it's been a tumultuous year, including last season with the injury and then the lengths of time that it took him to get back, the misdiagnosis, the training, the weight, the this, the that. It's been a tough year in general for this guy. And now we get to see him. He looks good. He worked out. Everything's on course. He's collapsing the defensive line by himself. He's looking pretty good. And we get this injury, and it looks like he's out for the year, which really that's a stick in the spokes if I've ever seen one. And it causes us to kind of look at things through a different lens. Clearly, the Jets were pretty confident in him. They did not use any of their premium draft capital to bring in a tackle, left tackle, right tackle. They didn't do that. And they also didn't go out there and spend big in free agency to try to bring a tackle in that way. A month ago, we brought Riley Reif in, and we didn't sign him either. So it seems like the Jets were pretty confident with their starters, and losing one forces us to take a look at the depth, right? So now we're in this situation, and you can't help but do the whole hindsight thing. Well, if we did this, if we did that, what could have been done differently? And there's myriad options that we could have chosen a different course where the whole Mekhi Becton left tackle, right tackle scenario is concerned. So when we try to take an objective view of this snapshot that we have right now, trying to push the emotions aside, there's disappointment all over the place. You try to look and say, okay, well, what is it that really went on here? What could I have done better? Now, there's a whole bunch of lessons, right? There's a whole bunch. We could have not had the confidence in Mekhi Becton. There was plenty of outcry from Jets fans to secure the spot. There were even calls for trading Mekhi Becton, taking whatever you can get, and just moving on and using a top pick on somebody like Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu. One of those guys, we could have used a second-round pick on another offensive tackle. There were a lot of options just this past year, and there's just so much that you can learn. But when you back this up all the way to the beginning with the choice to select Mekhi Becton, when the Jets were on the clock in Joe Douglas's first ever draft, two of the tackles had already been taken. We talked about this ad nauseum during the draft. We were actually live on Jets Talk 24/7, and we were talking about it in a very specific viewpoint. And it was that Tristan Wirfs is really the safe pick. He's the safer pick. He might not be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he's going to more than likely be solid for a long time. Upper echelon solid. He's very, very good. He's versatile, crazy athletic, all that sort of stuff. And Mekhi Becton was looked at as, if this guy can stay healthy, he might just be the best, most dominant tackle in the NFL. The phrase that everybody was throwing around was boom or bust. Boom or bust. Now, Joe Douglas had never taken a draft pick before. And going back and trying to put our mind in the headspace of Joe Douglas at the time, he had a different coaching staff, that they certainly weren't a wide zone scheme, completely different schematics, different thought processes and everything. And it was Joe Douglas's first draft class. And he chose to go for the boom or bust instead of the safer pick. Now, at the time, leading into that draft, I'm not sure if you remember or not, but I'll remind you, the Jets had 6 straight years of ridiculously handled drafts. The wrong players, the wrong positions, the drafts made no sense. You couldn't tell what they were trying to accomplish. All sorts of stuff. So when Joe Douglas came in and took the position that we needed most, which was left tackle, and then followed it in the second round with the position that we needed the next most, wide receiver, it was comforting to know that at least we have a guy who understands what the game of football looks like and what a team needs and how to go about filling those roles. So we were really happy with it. But we were, many of us, surprised that we went for the boom or bust instead of the safer pick. Now, Maccagnan was known as a safe pick guy. He always took the consensus best player available. Didn't matter if he needed him or not. That was just how he went. He was safe. So seeing that change with Joe Douglas was kind of exciting. I have to admit, I felt excited. Lots of people that I talked to at the time were also excited for that exact reason. But I think that maybe, just maybe, now Joe Douglas having 3 drafts under his belt, seeing guys fail, seeing guys make it, who's working, how to do this, how to trade up, how to trade back, all the stuff that he's learned in the last few years of being the Jets general manager. I venture to say that I think Joe Douglas's number one lesson will be, if that type of a situation arises again, where you have 2 guys that would absolutely fill the bill, when you have 2 guys and for the most part all things are equal, but one is a riskier pick for whatever the reason, I think just maybe Joe Douglas might lean toward the safer pick as opposed to the swinging for the fences type of mentality. I don't know. That's what I get out of this. It's really sad to see what Mekhi Becton is going through, and it's sad for Jetnation as well. It really is. It's tough. It's tough. It's almost like the sentiment is like, what? Why can't we have nice things? But out of all this stuff, whenever something like this happens, you have to try to learn from it. You have to try to make it into a lesson. So my thoughts are, lesson number 1, with all the other potential lessons aside, lesson number 1 would be, in the event you have 2 guys that would both fill the need, go with the safe pick as opposed to swinging for the fences. Take the single, as we say. Take the single. When you don't need a home run to win, safely and comfortably, go for the single. What do you think? You think there are any other lessons? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Sad, man. I'm sure we're all disappointed, but let me know what you think we can learn from this one in the comments, and I look forward to chatting with you. Have a great day, and as always, go Jets.